I won't be
This meeting is being recorded.
I won't be but a hot minute. Just on behalf of the Neighborhood Association, we're really excited of this ongoing partnership. More importantly, that it's just an opportunity to revisit the presentation because it has been a while. And we want to just keep a strong communication as to what's going on. James is doing a great job at chairing this committee. And so we're really excited and we're extremely optimistic. And I asked that in some of the questions that we may ask, it's not so much pushback, but just to get a little clarification as to where we are. So I hope we're all on the same page when it comes to that. So on that note, I turn it over to the chair and let's get the party started.
All right, thanks a lot. Well, of course, today is February the 24th, 2022. We're here with the Economic Development crew or team, and what we normally do is come over here and talk about the neighborhood and how we can better the neighborhood and come together collectively with all resources in order to try to, not to try, but to move things forward. So with that being said, I'm gonna let Matt Houston, if everybody don't know, he's a representative for Hope Global that's working the project off of Evans and Rosedale. And he's gonna give us a quick overview as to what the renderings look like so far. Some of you guys may have already seen it and some may not, but he's gonna bring us up to date so that way we're all on the same page. So go ahead, Matt.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And thank you, Historic Southside Economic Development Committee. Oh, yes, sir, Mr. Wallace.
I was just going to ask everybody if they could mute their cameras, please. Thank you, guys.
Perfect. Thank you, Mr. Wallace. Thank you, Historic Southside Economic Development Committee. My name is Matt Houston. I am representing Hoke Global, but we are here today and every fourth Thursday of the month as a community so that we can all keep the lines of communication open of this project that we have been involved with since 2019 or so. We've had a hiccup due to COVID during the pandemic and, Fort Worth freezing and North Texas freezing last year. And so there have been a lot of obstacles, but we have stayed, we've remained steadfast in ensuring that we have a quality and inclusive development. Now, before I get started, I would like, I know Mr. Chairman Walker was asking or was prefacing this by saying that this is a rendering. This is really just a concept. We have not created any official plans, but this is the same concept that you all have seen in community meetings that Arthur have presented. Also, the city of Fort Worth on September 16th, I believe, it was the community meeting at the library. And so I am essentially using that exact same presentation. You'll even still see the September 16th date. And if you have any questions, Martha, do you mind if you help me as you're working at the city with the city of Fort Worth, as we are now in the phase of exchanging agreements with the development agreement, getting all of the language taken care of. So it's in between Hope Globals and the city of Fort Worth's court as to trying to create an agreement so it can be approved by city council. So just to give you a snapshot of where we are, that's phase one or phase two of the seven-part pre-development phase. And so it's still very early on. We have not done any plans for construction agencies, or we're not ready to turn soil yet. So I just want to ensure that with you. All right. Also, before I get started, I want to welcome Andre McEwen. You all know him, but I invited him as he has been one of a leader in Fort Worth who've been close to this project. And last year, he served as, I believe he served as chair of the Fort Worth Metropolitan Black Chamber of Commerce last year, correct? Andre?
So I was the chair of the Economic Development Committee, not the chair
got
of the
you.
chamber.
And so chair of the Economic Development Committee, and because we had a meeting and after the passing of DeVoy Jennings, I wanted to have more of a community approach to providing this project to the business community, business leaders in the community in Black Fort Worth. Initially, it was going to be through the Fort Worth Metropolitan Black Chamber of Commerce, but we evolved that thought to have that have this committee, or after the invitation from Chairman Walker, have this committee be that source of data, so that the historic Southside and potential business owners who want to be a part of this project can be a part of this committee. One, that'll build the infrastructure for this Economic Development Committee for the historic Southside for sustainability. Two, we want to be a good neighbor. We are not trying to dominate historic Southside. We just have 12 acres and want to be really good stewards to make this community flourish. And so we want to do everything we can on our end to ensure we do that. Now, I will go to our presentation. If you all can tell me if you all can see it. Is everything good? All right, great. So the first slide is just the context of the neighborhood. As you see, you all have put in work for decades to ensure that the community, historic community of African-American descendants of slaves, Black people who've populated this area for generations, not only is recognized, but also provide a safe space where a safe meeting space, a community. And in that you have historic spaces that is identified by the Mount Zion Church. You have, I don't know if that's the NAACP building. I think that's the Women's Federation building, I believe. The NAACP housed in there. So I believe that was, so I apologize for that typo. But also you all have, this organization was pivotal in providing the aesthetics of how that community looks now. And all we want to do is enhance that. Now, this is the development from a bird's eye view. This is looking west, so from east to west, looking toward I-35 west. The highest point, the furthest north point you see here is Highway 35 West. We have a mixed use development here. That will be our more dense apartment complex that can go up to, I believe, 4 or 5 stories. That is retail at the bottom, or retail slash the entrepreneurial hub at the bottom, and then 3 to 4 stories of multifamily. You have here housed in the middle a 15,000 square foot grocery store, or a 15,000 foot space for something like a grocery store, anything like that. We have not made any commitments to grocery stores. We're just trying to create a concept so that whenever we find that grocer, which we will help, we will assist, we want to make sure that there's appropriate space for it. There's also more retail and mixed use space in our lesser dense multifamily space, where we have the first floor as retail slash innovation hub, and then 2 to 3 stories of multifamily. To the north is an existing building in which we are repurposing. Yes, Ms. Jerry. Okay, sorry. And where we're repurposing and making a neighborhood brew, a meeting place where not only local brewers, both of coffee in the mornings, and then of beer and suds and things in the evening, but also it creates this lively, walkable space. And then as we cross Rosedale here, as we cross Evans Street, we have our phase 2 that is furthest east, which will be our condominiums, 3-story condominiums on both sides of the Bethlehem Center. This concept is key as we want to have more dense areas closest to the highway where it will have more traffic, more noise pollution. And as we fade into the community where there's single family houses, we want to ensure we have less dense dwellings so that we can transition into the historic Southside community. This is another view of that same space. As you see Evans at the bottom, and between Evans and Terrell, you have phase 2 of our condos, 3-story condos, single family dwellings. This middle block, this middle meat block, we have spaces. We have approximately 80 spaces, a little more than 80 spaces available, some green space. And then we have multifamily dwellings with retail that is anchored at the floor. We have smaller retail at 4,400 square feet and 8,000 square feet. That's between Missouri, that sits on the Missouri Avenue side. But we also want to encourage to the south of this green space, open spaces, so that we can ensure walkability, we can ensure community, and we can ensure this project is open for all in the community, not just the existing, not just the new residents that will come into this community. One comment, I know that there was a question in the community meeting about moving this parking space here that is further south here so that it won't interfere with this road. I don't know the update on that between the city and the developers, but I know that some options like having a semi-permeable type surfaces are things that we are working on to ensure that we have, that we're ecologically and environmentally friendly. Going past Missouri Avenue, we have in our denser and our larger apartment complex, it not only holds the most units, in which our development total, I believe, should be about 320 units of multifamily, of apartment unit dwellings, but it also houses the parking garage. There's going to be a multi-level parking garage that sits that is surrounded by apartments and the retail space in this driveway, in which the entire community can use as they park, and they can walk into places like the library or in the green spaces in the community. And this is a picture. This is shown from Evans, looking northwest and from the amphitheater area. As you see, the furthest left is the highest, is the more dense apartments, multifamily, with the grocery store here. This is Missouri Avenue. I don't know if you all can see my mouse. Can y'all see my mouse moving or not? Okay, great. And then this is our second retail that was 8,000 square feet with 3 stories of multifamily above that, which wraps around this space. This is one of the walkable areas between Neighborhood Brew and the multifamily space, and we want to provide green spaces and walkability and places for sitting and gathering all throughout our project. And so we're just, again, this art is conceptual. There's nothing planned and set in stone in this space. This is another view of it. As you can see, the Jack in the Box, how it incorporates with the remaining portion of the existing projects. If you notice, this was, if you see the red circle from the previous slide, this is here next to the Neighborhood Brew on Missouri. And as you notice, we have different pockets of green spaces to promote walkability and community activation. We will still have the existing 2-way street here with parking on each side. Again, outside, I know we are going to have a parking garage for overflow parking, but we still also will have opportunities for vehicular parking on the streets. This is another view on the other side of Missouri, I believe is going into the parking spaces. You are actually on the side that is part of the smaller multifamily building, looking toward crossing Missouri, looking toward the denser multifamily area. And again, the brick is signifying, it symbolizes just the consistency, wanting to stay consistent with the community, not wanting to be drastically different. We know we're creating a lot of density, but we want to be as community oriented as possible so that there can be smooth transition so that both communities can blend into one and we can keep the beauty of the historic Southside. This play area is next to the furthest south parking lot, which is going toward the library. And so the amphitheater is probably this last piece of brick in this corner. You'll go further south where the amphitheater is. This is a green space that can be activated as a park area, playground area. We also want to encourage food trucks and community grocers. This was something that we discussed in our last meeting as a solution. We were addressing what if we can't find a grocery store to fit inside the grocery, the 15,000 square feet, 15,000 square foot building. But one of the options is to provide a weekly farmers market in this space, something that could be activated. And I know that there's some other talks on ensuring that we can keep these spaces green, in which Hope Global is in support of that as well. This is another view looking from the library, looking due north of the multifamily development. This is the smaller development, the smaller multifamily development that looks at the grocery store to the left. Excuse me. And this view is facing, if you're looking toward downtown, looking southeast. This is the view where I believe this is Terrell, that is on this street, and this is Missouri. And you're looking at a corner at the neighborhood brew with a couple parking spaces here, which will activate so that you can have on-surface parking as well as the parking garage, which will be a driveway here going this way. Please, if anyone have any questions, please let me know, and then I can go back and forth. I have a few more slides, and then if you all can remember which slide, I can go back to. I can definitely refer that.
Yeah,
All right.
let me, man. I remember, and this is a question that came from Walter a while back, and it's just coming back to what you're talking. There was some discussion about putting some meters in that area, like parking meters, and that that a part of those proceeds could go to the neighborhood association. Are you familiar with that?
From the development side, we're not familiar with that. Martha, are you familiar with that type of request?
Yes, I remember that request. So unfortunately, we can't use city parking meters to go back directly towards what the community wants to do. If they wanted to establish something like a public improvement district or something along those lines, that would be different. But those revenues kind of go into our general fund, which gets distributed out. So it can't be directed specifically in that way.
So Martha, can the neighborhood association initiate, while we're going through this process, a PID application? Can that be considered while we're going through the process so they don't have to wait? In the event we can use those proceeds to support the neighborhood?
So Well, maybe we can have that discussion. PID is a little bit longer of a discussion.
Right.
Definitely can be discussed. That would have to be discussed with Hoke and agreed upon with them.
Okay,
And any other commercial properties that would want to participate in it.
Right.
But we could put together a discussion point on that, maybe at the next meeting or a further meeting down the road, if that's okay.
so generally for sake of the neighborhood association economic development committee members, we would have to, the PID encompasses a specific area that may encompass residential and commercial. And there would have to be an approval by those residents and in that PID area to agree upon that PID tax. I'm gonna use the term tax. So it will be an incremental tax that would go back to the neighborhood association. But first and foremost, you have to designate that area for that PID, right?
Yes, and it wouldn't be a neighborhood association, it would be a
Right.
board, which would consist
Gotcha.
of property owners. So yes,
Okay.
that's correct. But one thing, I know when that request was made, it was made to talk about how could we maintain the park. And what we did talk about was that park dedication fees that would usually come from the development and would have to go toward a park in the area, they could be dedicated directly to this park. And so that's kind of what we've been looking at as an alternative, is how can we direct those funds at the park?
And the PID, Martha, would not be in conflict with the current TIF, the new Southside TIF, which comes over to Evans Avenue, I believe. So
That I'm not sure of. I'd have to get back to you on that question.
Okay.
I believe they can
Administrator.
overlay, can
I
they?
I
they
think
can
they
over-
can, because
Right.
they do in Arlington. I just don't know if we have any,
Right.
trying to think if we have any here in Fort Worth. So
Okay.
I want to make sure I'm pronouncing, I'm hearing the pronunciation right. I've never heard the term before. You say pig?
Public
PID,
Public
Public
Improvement
Improvement
District,
District.
PID.
Yes.
Yeah.
sorry for the
I'm sorry.
acronyms.
No,
Yeah, sorry about that. Public Improvement District.
Thank you,
Mhm.
sir.
and just for that, and it won't be totally managed with the neighborhood association, but a representative from the
Right.
association can
Right.
serve on that board.
Right.
Right. So that's
Absolutely.
something that can be a formalized organization that the neighborhood association, the economic development committee can really have teeth in and have a say as to how extra revenue is being sourced into the community.
Mhm. And they usually go towards kind of keeping things clean, keeping things safe, keeping things
Beautification.
beautiful.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
So
Make-
those
Now
are
would-
kind of the key
Mhm.
points.
And
Mhm.
James, I would just suggest to the committee, given the length of time it takes, that we would provide a presentation, Martha, back to the association and then proceed accordingly, because I think once this project is going, simultaneously will be an opportunity to put that in place to support the development.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I would recommend chatting with the council member on it and kind of just getting his feedback first and foremost, and then kind of maybe just surveying a few main property owners of where you're thinking. That's kind of a good way to start it out, and then you can talk about the plan and things like that. But we can have a follow-up conversation. So
Yeah, and we oh, Mr. Chair.
And speaking of that, where are you guys at right now, like with the city, and like where are you guys at? Because I think you guys are still in negotiations, or are you still trying to secure the rest of the land, or where are you guys at right now?
So Matt, I can take that one.
Matt?
So we are in the middle of negotiations. Pretty much all the documents have been drafted, and we're kind of just going back and forth, chatting about those pieces. We also had, Hoke had to secure 912 Missouri parcel that was held privately still, that was in the middle. So we've been working through that piece. We just got approval to kind of do a land swap agreement. So, just trying to work through those pieces of the agreement. There's 12 different documents that have to be done, but some of them are signed already. Things have been moving forward, so we're excited about that.
Okay, so you have to do a land swap agreement for the 912 Missouri in order to be able to have complete land control in order to move forward with this
Yeah, so
project, correct?
specifics on that one are Hoke is purchasing another parcel from the local development corporation so that they can do that land swap, because the part from my understanding is the person who owns that parcel wasn't willing to just sell it outright without some kind of land swap agreement. And so the city agreed to sell it to Hoke for that purpose.
Okay, do you guys, and you may not know this, I'm just asking, do you have an estimated time when you think you'll be able to get all that wrapped up, or we kind of still trying to figure that part out?
A lot of that will depend on, financing and kind of just getting those pieces put together. Matt, I don't know if you have any updates on that.
Yeah, I don't have any timelines because I really only do a lot of the policy side of that. That's our CFO's our deal, and so I don't have the timeline on that.
Okay, do you think we could, you guys could go back to the CFO and try to get a timeline and maybe meet back with us next month?
Well, it's not really, so before that process, I think we have to get that through this. We have to go through the development agreements first, correct, Martha? There is a process on the city side before we figure out the financing of it.
Yeah, there's a couple initial agreements that we're just waiting kind of to get back. And then once that piece goes, there's all the rest of the documents that kind of at financial closing. So,
and then
what I will do, Mr. Chair, is when I follow back up in our next meeting, I'll give you an update on that.
Okay. And then speaking of the financing part, I think we've been working on this project maybe over a year now. Do you guys have an idea what the budget of this project is going to be?
Yes, we do. I believe the budget was close to, I think the total project was $60 million, I believe, on the space. Was it, Martha, does that sound right?
Yes,
I don't have the number in front of me.
60 million for phase one, and then phase two is another 10 million. Those are the minimum commitment. So they'll spend at least that much.
Yeah, so at least 70 million total in the project.
Okay, if there is any way, and I'm just asking if you guys can find that out, because we're doing a project ourselves, and it's just a 221 unit apartment complex, and it's about 60 million. So this is a fairly large development here. So I'm thinking 60 million may be a little on the low end, but if you can find out, just let us know so we can kind of see where we're at. And then with that financing, have you guys talked to, or whoever you need to, about the financing for this project, or you still have to get that in line also?
Again, that's something that we have triggers on our end on the financing piece, but I'm not privy to that at this time.
Okay, all right. Just wondering. Okay, those were my main questions. And then the other thing, I guess, is trying to figure out, because I know we were speaking about trying to take the community approach. With me being a broker in the community, Trojan Commercial is a broker in the community.
Lorraine's a broker.
Yep. Lorraine's a broker. So I'm hoping that we're able to pull in some of these real estate brokers. I don't do much commercial. I do mostly residential, but I know Trojan does a lot of commercial. If somehow we can ensure that they are taking part in doing some of the leasing on the commercial piece of the project in order to get that done, because that would kind of help out, some of us in the community, because I know a lot of times when you're doing these big projects, we get left out of being able to lease and do those things. So I don't know what that looks like, or what we have to put in place to ensure that, or if we can say, hey, Matt is going to take care of that, or how that needs to take place. But if we can somehow try to make that happen, that will be great. So those are my main questions for right now. I do have other questions, but I'll wait till next meeting just for time, because I think some other people may have some questions they may want to ask.
Got you. I like to answer the especially the broker question, because our whole strategy and our tactic is to be an inclusive development. We're not a fee developer, and typically fee developers find consultants so that they can try to navigate, have someone do all of their dirty work so that they can get the project going. So within 10 years, they can appreciate the value and then sell off and go somewhere else. We're not using that approach. We purposely want to get to know the local businesses here, and we've set out to meet people, not just to check off the list, but we truly want to build a relationship and want to build, because one thing that I know firsthand from Hope Global, he doesn't really do business with many people he doesn't know, and so just trying to go through that process, and that's typically a process that we are excluded from as Black businesses in mainstream spaces. And so by us going into this committee specifically, we want to know organically who is really involved and who have the skill set also, right? It's involvement as well as skill set, which you all definitely have representatives here. And we want to build the local economy, which means the members first of the historic Southside, if they have businesses that can benefit, that'll be mutually beneficial for this project, and then expanding outwards for that. And so that's why we're participating in these monthly meetings. And as we get further in our pre-development phases, definitely want to have more serious conversations. What we don't want to do is to create an exclusive partnership at this time, an exclusive partnership with one particular person at this time, and then we will cause, we will be bad actors to everyone else. That's not our approach. We recognize that we're not from this community, but we just want to do our part.
Okay, I appreciate it. And I guess one last thing, have a pre-development conference with the city been scheduled yet that you know of?
No, not yet.
Okay. I mean, and that was my question. Does anybody else have any questions?
Nine, right? Okay.
Let me ask a question, James. Mr. Chairman, from a community standpoint, Matt,
Yes.
we have two major historical African-American art anchors. I'm going to use the term art opportunities, those being the Miss Opal Lee at the corner of, I think Jared may be on, he can speak to this,
Yep.
the corner of Evans and Rosedale, as well as the old Pinkston Funeral Home, and love the project. But how will we add to the historical arts part, the African-American experience, both at the corner of Evans and Rosedale, as well as the Pinkston Funeral Homes? Have we engaged conversations in those two projects?
We, from a Hoke Global standpoint, we have not, mainly because we want to ensure that we go through the city and make sure that this project happens so that we are not saying one thing and doing something else. And so we've been laser focused on ensuring that we can move dirt so that it can be proof that we are community members. And then whenever we can do that, then we will love to provide support in any way, form, whether it's verbal communal support or finding a way to uplift those type of cultural, not only future edifices, because that will not only enhance the entire community, but that'll make it the historic Southside more pleasing for community development. So,
okay. And the last question: will the 320 units be market rate, mixed rate? How would that work in terms of making sure that this project is an affordable project for the community?
It's I believe, and Martha, I believe it's a mixed rate. I think it's going to be a mixed inclusive deal. I don't know the exact breakdowns, whether it's 20 to 25% of 80% of AMI, but I do know it's going to be mixed with some market rate and then affordable housing.
20% will be affordable, 10 at 80%, and then
Okay.
10 at 60. So
I think I knew something was like
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
And Matt, if you can find out and give us on that pre-development meeting conference, if you can find out and give us a estimated time on that, would be great as well.
Yeah, I'll keep y'all up to date in our subsequent meetings.
Okay.
Ms. Jerry.
Chairman Walker, I have a question.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
My question is to Matt, getting back to your presentation. I noticed it's a two-part question. I noticed you didn't mention anything about a nice multi-level hotel, along the lines of maybe Hilton Garden or Courtyard. And the other part of the question is, having a hotel, would it be beneficial to the development in a way of generating tax or income,
Are you
add
referring,
value to the urban village?
got you. Are you referring to having a hotel in our property or adjacent to it?
Well, anywhere in the development.
So I remember early on, the early vision for that space, at least along the highway, the one that's closest to South Freeway, was that
Correct.
for that to be a hotel there so that it can have that, I don't want to call it transient population, but that is, it's close to downtown, it's close to a lot of things, and that can generate a lot of foot traffic that's not permanent. But when we went through the process, I believe in 2017, 2018, the plan that was approved when Hope Global One was a multifamily approach, and I don't think the hotel was a part of that plan. And so, from 2019, I haven't seen any plans for a hotel. I can't answer that, but I just know that's all that I know from my end.
Okay.
If I can,
In
go ahead.
your experience,
Mhm.
would a nice multi-level hotel add value to the urban village in a way of income?
That's speculative to me. Are you asking me, do you think if we were to put the hotel in the property, will it enhance, or just the fact that a hotel in that area will enhance it? If the latter is the question, then yes, having entities like that close to a highway will just activate the entire space, bring in tourism, bring a space that can provide some sales tax revenue in the community. But we're at the point where I don't want to speculate the project that we already have approved through city council. And so that's why I don't really feel super comfortable answering that about our particular development.
Okay, cool.
If I can jump in there for a hot second, and I appreciate your comment there, Ross, but that has been a major sore spot from the many meetings that we've had with people in the neighborhood about the hotel for several reasons, because that was a part of a discussion at the very beginning, and it was a major almost uproar from people in the neighborhood because we didn't see that being, and again, all due respect, Ross, didn't see that being viable. And too often we see these hotels that come into our communities that switch hands 2-3 times, and it just brings how do I say it? Not exactly the best element. And some of the hotels are downtown and not even at 90% occupation occupied, opposed to one here. And again, no diss to you, Ross, on that. And it's just we've not seen that being viable for the neighborhood. And not to mention, you wanna get people's eyebrows up again. You say hotel, and
Okay.
it just becomes insane. And all due respect, my brother, please.
Okay, no problem. I feel you.
I've got a couple of questions. I apologize. I got on a little late. I didn't hear the 20% affordable, 10% was at 80% AMI. What was the other percentage?
60%.
The other 10% is at 60.
Yes.
Okay. And then what is the total square footage of the projects as far as living area with the apartment units?
I believe residential square footage is 257,000 square feet in that ballpark, with retail 27,000 feet and maybe 8,000 square feet of public amenity space.
Okay. And then I was getting in on the financing questions. I know you don't have an exact date, but what's your ETA or target date that y'all discussed on having the land acquisition completed and the financing in place? I know you don't have an exact answer, but what is the ETA?
From a whole global standpoint, yesterday would have been the great day. But we do know that with processes, and we appreciate the city of Fort Worth working with us, and we are projecting 18 to 24 months before we can get things started.
Before you break ground, before you move dirt, before you break ground, 18 to 24
18
months.
to 24 months is what we're projecting at this phase.
That's to finish acquiring that land swap, any other land that, what other land has not been purchased yet or accounted for?
That just that one parcel was missing from the development. And so Hoke's been taking care of that. Everything else is already assembled and it's, you know.
But then
be
there's
relayed.
also a permitting process that we have to go through as well. That's
Oh, yeah.
about an 8 to 12-month process.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. And when do y'all, I noticed y'all say you don't have the pre-development scheduled yet. When do you plan on getting that scheduled?
Whenever, as soon as possible, and I'll make sure I'll continue to report to this committee, and especially giving an update next month.
Yeah, because like James was saying, we're working on a 221 unit complex, and that pre-development piece, we're already 9-10 months into it. And so that kind of concerns us a little bit if y'all haven't even got that started yet, where you're at with that piece.
Yeah, understandable. Thank you for that.
All right, well, I guess
Okay.
that's a lot of questions and things we need to come
Hold
back to
on,
the
Ms.
table.
Jerry, Mr. Chair, I believe Ms. Jerry had a question.
Okay,
I did, and it was only because it's something that, you know, everybody's been kind of throwing around. And that is about that the Evans Plaza being designated as a park. And I had Matt to check into that. And so, Matt, can you kind of let them know? We have gotten a letter together so that whenever that land is given to the city, we have several organizations and the church that have agreed to be on board with us to get the Evans Plaza designated as a park.
Yes, thank you for that, Ms. Jerry. And I spoke with Mr. Stearns and Nico Dev yesterday, a couple of days yesterday, I believe. I haven't slept much. I have a newborn here, but he was stating that we're focusing on this agreement first, and once we get through this agreement, then we will work on the land acquisition. I did tell Ms. Jerry that Hope Global is in support of whatever we need to do in terms of letters of support to make that dedicating a parkland happen. We're open to doing it because we want to ensure that there is a live, work, play space and a lot of green space there. So whatever the community desires that's healthy for the entire space, we're in support of. But Mr. Stearns, it hasn't started that process as we're trying to finish this development agreement. That's more pressing on both of our agendas.
okay. All right, and before we let you go, would this project be the largest project, smallest project that Hope Global has completed, or what do you fit this in that they've done and completed?
So Hope Global currently, this is the first round of developments, one of about 3 at this point. There are 2 developments, one that is equivalent to this in Dallas, which is so good. It's comparable in acreage and impact and imprint rather. There is a larger development, New Park, in which that's a 5-phase. That's about I want to say 1 billion square feet of commercial space. So that'll be larger. That'll be larger than this project, but it sits on 5 acres in downtown Dallas, having 5 high-rise buildings. This is not it's not as community oriented as this one is. This So Good would be the comparable to that.
That you have completed? That's done
I
already?
didn't say that. So like I said,
Okay.
what
That's
I
what
said
I'm
at the
saying.
very
Which-
beginning was that
Yeah, so which ones have you completed that we can go and look at?
we're in the process of all of these. And so I said,
So you have not completed anything to this caliber yet, is what you're saying, correct?
so as alone with as Hope Global, no, we've partnered with
Okay.
other entities like Matthews Southwest, things of that nature. But these will be the first round of developments from Hope Global as an independent development.
Well, let me ask a question. If y'all haven't completed those and y'all are working on that now, would that or would that not impact the financing piece of this one?
No, it's not. It's I don't, because those have 3 separate financial packages.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. All
Great
right.
questions, though.
Yeah, okay then. Well, that is it. If no one else have any other questions, we will move on with the meeting. If everybody is okay. Matt, of course, you can stay on as always.
No. I'm on this
Wait,
committee. I told you, if this is my
okay.
Zoom, I'm staying on this
So,
committee. No, I'm joking.
So Matt, you said something about a billion square feet. Were you just being exaggeratory or what, a
No,
billion square feet?
no, there's a new park project, and I can send you all the Zoom link of it. I'll send it on this chat box of the renderings of that project as I'll look it up here and send it to you all. So that you
Yeah,
all can
just
take a
the
look. And I'll show
addresses
you
and the
the
name.
So Good
The
project
addresses
too.
and the name. Yes, we would be interested in knowing the other two projects as well in the progress, just so we can kind of look at it and see what scale y'all performing it in.
Okay, will do.
Thank you.
No
All right.
problem.
So Matt, in regards to those two projects, do y'all have a time when it may be completed?
So all of these projects, we are in, it's going through there are different levels with the city. So with our new park project, we have already presented the conceptual plans to the council. It's going through economic development now and staff. And so we are awaiting the vote. Mike Holcove already acquired all of the properties for all of these projects. And so we are just going through the municipal process to ensure that we are dotting all I's and crossing all T's.
Okay, so nothing has went vertical as of
Nope,
yet.
nothing yet.
Okay, got you.
No problem.
Okay, well, I guess that's it, Matt. We probably drilled you to the utmost, and
There's no worries.
we'll wait to hear back from you on everything, and we're going to go ahead and move forward. I don't think Stacy Marshall is on here tonight, so since he's not on here, I'm gonna go ahead and speak to some of the things that, as a community, that we have been working on for the neighborhood association. And one of the items that everybody know about is Glenwood Park. Me and Johnny, and of course, Miss Lexington Wright, she's on this call too. That was the young lady that was just asking the last few questions. And we've been speaking with Miss Lori Gordon, and that's over planning and development. And come to find out, well, I would say they was having a meeting yesterday, but the meeting got canceled due to weather. And what we were going to do is submit our proposal, which everybody already know about, as to what we want for as a community for Glenwood Park. And the proposal consisted of, just to recap real quick, of we wanted more pavilions, trash cans, lighting, volleyball court, basketball court, larger playground, nature trail walk, in a traditional walking area around the park, and if all possible, a soccer or baseball field, which would be located in the back of the park. With all these items, it came up to round about close to $1.5 million, and that's our proposal we're taking to the Park and Recreational. But within digging and finding out some of the information that Miss Lexington Wright found out, along with myself, with Miss Lori Gordon, that this park has have been getting funds. But come to find out, they have been allocating our funds to different areas, like north of us, south of us, and east of us. So that's where all our park funds have been allocated to. So we are in the process of finding out exactly how much funds have been allocated, because when we did our numbers, come to find out your park is being, one source of the park is being funded by is permit when you're doing new builds, new construction, which a lot of new construction that me and Thomas that was just speaking, we're building new homes in the community along with other builders, but those permit fees are $900. So to our understanding that over the past few years, 760 some odd permits have been pulled for this particular area, which is close to about $700,000 that our park is not seeing. So come to find out that our funds can be allocated to the north, south, and east, It's not allocated to the west of us because we're in Unit 5. And let me guys show you. Martha, can you give me sharing rights?
Matt,
I don't think
Matt-
I can, it would be Matt, that would be
I
whoever's.
think
controlling.
Matt will have to do it.
Can you give me sharing rights?
Yes,
for a
I
second?
will. I was sorry. I was trying to pull up the links and I definitely, let's see, get you to you. You should have sharing rights now.
Okay.
And also, while you're sharing that, I've placed the links of the So Good and the New Park projects, the YouTube links in the chat box if you all want to copy those hyperlinks and look at those later.
Okay.
Thank you, Matt.
So
Okay.
our park is located in what they call Unit 5. So we're Unit 5-1. So all the fees that are collected in Unit 5-1 can go to the north, south, and east of us. It doesn't go to here, the west of us, because we were told that the funds that are the funds that are gathered in units, the west of us stays with that district. So they don't have to distribute their funds. So all their funds can stay with them. And we have to distribute our funds, but our funds are not coming to Glenwood Park. So
Okay.
this is,
James,
Go
James,
ahead.
can I interject? Okay, I just want to read it specifically. She said this is the quadrant map. Money collected in 5-1 can be used in 5-1 or any other central city unit that touch the north, east, or south. The unit to the west is part of a specific unit where the funds collected there can only be spent there. So my follow-up question, I had several, but to that I asked, how can we get the in District 5-1 only designated for 5-1, like all in Union Depot and all the other subdivisions shown in this yellow outline? I'm waiting on the answer. I want to know how can we get the new construction permit generated or the funds generated to go directly to Glenwood Park where it can be dedicated to just that park.
And
So
we
I'm
have
waiting
not
on
got
the
that.
answer for that.
And we sent that question 3 or 4 days ago, and we haven't gotten an answer as of yet. So we're kind of waiting on that. So
Yeah, we just want to know what the process is on how the West Parks get their funds designated to only be spent there. How can we go through that same process to guarantee that Glenwood Park get the funds allocated? Because $0 of the park funds in the last 5 years have went to Glenwood Park from what they said, $0.
Yes, and right now that's kind of unacceptable considering the condition of Glenwood Park at this time. So that's a quick update on that. So we are working aggressive and trying to figure out how we can get our funds back. And also Miss Jerry Williams was able to put together a petition for us. So what we're looking to do is meet with Stacy Martin. She's at the Fortress School. Is it Fortress School, right? So we meet.
Fortress Community Youth Development Center.
Okay, Fortress Youth Development Center. We're going to meet with her and hopefully get a meeting with the principal at Gwen Van Zant. We want to set up camp outside so we can get all parents and the people in the neighborhood that's picking up their kids to be able to sign this petition. And we're going to get together, me and Johnny Lewis, if we have to walk the neighborhood, and anybody else that want to help and getting this petition signed. So that way we can present this to council and the Park and Recreation when that time permits. So that's where we at on Glenwood Park. And do anybody have any questions?
Mr. Chair, it's Lorraine.
Yes.
Don't forget that we're going to participate in the cleanup of March on March 26th. That's a Saturday morning from 9 to noon, and Glenwood Park is one of the areas. We're hoping to do the garden, the neighborhood garden, and Glenwood Park. And so a flyer is being developed as we speak that will that we can pass out in the neighborhood as if we want to do it in conjunction with the petitions. But we're going to clean up Glenwood Park on March 26th.
If I can comment on that real quick, Lorraine, too, real quick, guys. One is that just be sure and mention that portion about getting the signatures for the petition on Monday, because the vice president principal of Van Zandt, she's going to be at our neighborhood association meeting, and
Okay.
she's a great partner, and I just don't see that being a problem. Two, I've already registered us for the cleanup for the downtown cleanup. Added to that, they being Van Zandt have gotten a $5,000 grant that they're updating their garden, and we're going to update our garden on that corner as well. And we've already, we've got in contact with the fraternity house, the Kappa house. They also will be there to work with, we'll be, thank you, sis, Kappa house to actually work. And we're going to be working with MBK, my brother's keepers, who's also going to bring some volunteers out as well. So just FYI.
Okay. And those were pretty much the main discussions we have tonight. We try to keep our meetings to, the 1 hour mark, but we just wanted to touch bases on those items. I don't know if anybody have anything else, but I will go ahead and put out there. We are going through a fight right now. Now, I'm not going to say a fight, but we are going to City Council Monday. For those that don't know, we're going through a redistricting situation in regards to trying to maintain the integrity of our neighborhood, where we're not being carved out and being, they're trying to actually incorporate our district, portion of our district over to District 9, and we're trying to prevent that from happening. So that's a whole nother conversation. And for those that are on here, we will be talking about that after this meeting. We'll take a break and then we're gonna log back on or jump back on and talk about that. But other than that, that's all for now for as economic development, unless anybody have anything else they would like to add at this time. Looks like we're good. So
I want to say one more thing. Everybody just be vigilant in your area. I found out that a cell phone tower was going up on South Freeway, the 900 block. And don't just assume that it was permitted correctly, because I found out it was permitted in error. And so now I contacted the city and myself and other owners. Hold on 1 second. So we got them to pause it. And so, hold on 1 second. I'm trying to go in another room. So we got them to pause it, but now they have the opportunity to rebuttal it through the Board of Adjustments. And I was like, oh, so y'all erroneously did the permit, and now they have the opportunity to, fight it, keep their cell tower up. So I will keep y'all posted on that as well, because cell phone towers is not economic development if it sits in the middle of a block.
Right, correct.
Okay, so I just wanted to let y'all know that.
And
Stay vigilant.
Appreciate that, Lexington. Mr. Jared, do you have anything you want to add tonight? Because I know you have that project there on Evans and Rosedale, the Juneteenth Museum. If you want to insert anything, great. If not, understand.
Yeah, so thanks, James. I don't have much. I will say this, Wallace and James and Thomas got a chance to meet the architects several months back. They are in the last stages of the design process and will be coming back to town. And so James, Wallace, Thomas, Miss Jerry, Miss Lorraine, anybody else that wants to come to that meeting, we'll be inviting a select group of people on behalf of the neighborhood association to come and understand the results of what they've done. And that'll probably be happening in the next 2 to 3 weeks. And I'll let you all know as soon as I have a date and a time, because I'd love to have you there. But other than that, that's it, James.
Thanks, man. Really appreciate that.
And James, I just want to say thank you for the opportunity to join you this evening, and look forward to supporting you and the project at Evans and Rosedale and the entire community. Thank you.
Thanks. Appreciate that, sir. Okay, that is awesome. So I believe that will conclude our meeting for tonight. Our next meeting, I'll have an update as to where we are with Glenwood Park. And Matt, I guess you can kind of fill us in on what you find out as well. And then we will continue to move forward. And again, we are pulling together as an association and as a community to maintain our community and make sure our community get what it needs along, just like other communities here in the county. So appreciate everybody. Look forward to seeing you next time. Stay safe.
James,
Yeah.
before you get off real quick, Wallace, let's talk soon. Does the Neighborhood Association have a mission statement?
Miss Jerry probably can answer that.
Yes, we do. I can send it to you.
Okay.
I'll text it to you.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry, James.
No, you good. You good.
And right quick, James, I know there was a meeting being talked about. Are we going to do that after
Yes.
this?
So what we're gonna
8:30?
do, we can do 8:30. We can just log right back in to this same link at 8:30. And what we're gonna be discussing is the redistricting and how we're gonna approach that as the association. So everybody that going to be a part of that, I believe is everybody that's with the association and Lexington and Thomas. So just log back in, and then again, thanks everyone. And
Hey,
we'll
quick question,
Okay,
Mr. Chair. This is
Yes,
my
Matt.
link.
that's
So yeah,
right.
so I'm not a part of it.
Right,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
right. Okay.
Right.
I was like, wait a minute, what?
No.
Okay,
Yeah, I
my
know.
bad.
James was supposed to been sending me some numbers today. Did you have the link to HSNA?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Send that out to them. If I had known, I'd have put it up there in the chat box. But yeah, go
Okay.
on and
You
send
can,
that out.
if you want to, you can throw it in the chat box right now.
Okay, just talk long enough for me to do it right quick.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going nowhere. Everybody else can jump off, and the people that's going to go to the redistrict. Oh, no,
Okay.
you can't leave yet, Matt. Matt, you got to hold on a second.
Okay, no, I'm here for you. I just wanted to make sure that y'all weren't, this was a different Zoom line, so.
Okay.
Yeah, it is. Well, you know, I
Hey,
knew.
I got to jump off for a little bit. So about 20 minutes, James.
Yeah, I think you should already have the link, right?
Oh, I know the link. I'm good.
Yeah.
I just get something else going on. So
Okay.
I'm gonna come back in about 20 minutes. I know the link.
Okay.
Thank you guys.
Yeah,
Okay.
I got
There
on.
you go.
It's
There
in the
you go.
chat. It's in the
Okay,
chat.
so I tell you what, let's just make it 8:45.
Okay, 8:45, jump back on,
Yeah,
and then we
I
can
got
go.
confused. I seen the council and that was it. Yeah.
Okay, that'll work.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, y'all have a good one.
Thank you.
That's-